Let me show you how to preserve food using the fermentation method. Hey there, welcome back to West Coast Gardener. Today I'm going to show you how to preserve your food using the fermentation method, also called lacto fermentation, and it can create some yummy food. If this is your first time here, my name is Robyn and I have been gardening for over a dozen years. I've been cooking for my whole life, and I really like to preserve some of my garden produce using the fermentation method. So first, the supplies that you'll need. Some kind of vessel. I like to use mason jars. Fresh produce in good condition. Today I'll do these purple beans and these fresh chilies. Some kind of weight. I like to use these glass weights, but you can also use plastic bags filled with water. You'll also definitely need salt, and you might need some seasonings and chlorine-free water. So to prep, first you're going to want to cut your veggies. Now again, make sure these veggies are in great condition and that they are fresh. I like to make sure that they fit in the jar. Sometimes you want them standing up. Sometimes you just want to be able to stack them up. Whatever works for you. Smash your garlic if you're using it. This helps it release its flavor. Chop any chilies in half if you're using them. Now, how much salt are you going to need? Well, that is a bit debatable, but there are 3 techniques that I like to use. First, you can just start salting your produce directly, and then once you add your water, taste it. And if you feel like it's salty enough, probably like it tastes like the sea, then that's good. You can either add more water or add more salt to make it the right saltiness for you. The other technique is to take 2 cups of water and add 1 tablespoon, maybe a tiny bit more of salt. Again, you can do this to taste. Another technique that I really like that Pro Home Cooks discussed recently is to take your jar, zero it out on the scale, add your produce and seasonings, pour in your water, take that weight, multiply it by 0.025, then take a separate jar, place it on the scale, add that amount of salt in grams, pour the water from the first jar in, give it a good stir or shake, and then put the water back in the vessel. Now, once you have your salt water sorted out, you're going to need to weight the produce so that it stays below the surface. Another technique is if you're using beans, you can actually use them to hold the other things down like I've done here. Once your veggies are in and your water is up to about 1 to 1.5 centimeters below the top of your jar, put your weight in, push it down, and then add your lid. Or you can use a plastic bag filled with water. This can be pretty messy, so I purchased some weights separately. Any weight that is not metal should be fine. Now about the lid, what should you do? Well, you can get special valves which let CO2 out. You can also put your lid on loosely so any CO2 can escape. Or you can do what I usually do, which is just put the lid on and then burp it every day, which is just to open it up, allow any extra CO2 to escape, and then close it up again. Just make sure you do this every day or you could end up with a bit of an explosion on your hands. Now you want to ferment them in a cool, dark place. I like to put mine in the pantry where it's out of direct light, definitely no sunlight. Another great spot is a kitchen cupboard. How do you know when they're done? Well, that's the million-dollar question. Definitely not before 5 days, and usually after that. You can start tasting it to see if you think that they're done. And if they are, and you don't want them to get any more tart or sour, stick them in the fridge. If you're okay with the sourness increasing, just keep them back in their cool, dark place, and the flavor may change a bit. They may become more sour, more complex. These are just different kinds of bacteria which are supposed to be more healthy for you. What are some things that you should look for? Well, make sure that you don't see any mold growing. If you see mold, you have to throw it out because this is mold that can make you sick. If you see a light layer of white or sort of creamy beige color on the top, you can skim that off. That is yeast and that is fine. It's also good if you can see little bubbles because that again is the CO2 in the ferment happening. If you leave your jar slightly open, allowing the CO2 to escape, you might not see as many of those. Your veggies might even have a bit of an effervescent kind of taste on the tongue if you keep your lid tight like I do, which doesn't bother me at all. I hope that you've enjoyed this video on how to ferment your food. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you hit subscribe, comment below on your favorite things to ferment, and I'll see you here next time.